Video games have never been more popular, and retro games have never been more expensive. When people hear about games selling for hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars, most assume that that's someone else's collection, not the stuff sitting in a box in their garage. My friend Eric has a collection he hasn't touched in years. And today we're gonna go through every piece of it, find out what it's actually worth, and figure out whether it makes sense to sell it, keep it, or do something else entirely. Along the way, we'll get into how the retro game market actually works, where to sell if you decide to, and the mistakes most people make that cost them real money. But before any of that, there's one question everyone has to answer first. What do you actually have? This is my friend Eric. I've known Eric since 20-something years.
Like I'm actually a high school English teacher in Southern Orange County, and to be honest, I've been a lifelong gamer. It's a little different now because we have a kid, so things have kind of changed, and that's why we're kind of exploring this, but I'm excited to kind of see what we have going on here.
Eric has brought with him his entire video game collection from your childhood?
All the way back to the 80s.
All the way?
I guess the Nintendo stuff disappeared, so 90s.
Eric has brought all of this great stuff, and our goal today is to go through it because I'm here to help educate the public about the value of their video games, because there's a lot of information out there. And wait till you see what he had just sitting in boxes in his house, because there's some really great stuff. Your history is interesting because you have multiple consoles. Why do you have multiple consoles and games today?
My family would kind of collect them in parallel with between myself and my grandparents would buy consoles, and then my cousin would buy consoles. And so all of the collection's been kind of put together and handed down to me, who's been kind of the longest running gamer in the family.
When I go through all this stuff, I have two metrics that I use to gauge value. One is looking at eBay sold listings. You don't just want to look at what is something is listed for, you want to see what did it actually sell for. And then secondly, I will compare that against a site called pricecharting.com.
Okay.
Price charting is an aggregate of all of the solds based on loose copies, complete in box copies. It tells you the manual in the box. The reason I use both of those is because sometimes an eBay sold and a price charting will be really off from each other. When I was a kid, I used to go through my baseball cards and look at, I think it was Beckett magazine.
Sure.
And then I would look at the value and be like, wow, this card's worth 10 cents. But trying to find someone who would buy my card for 10 cents doesn't mean it's actually worth that. The other thing is, we're looking really at, especially the older you go with video games, and in some of the newer stuff too, this is really collectibles. When you look at a collectible, you have to think it's not just about the general price, because collectibles now go on variabilities. How clean is the label on the video game cartridge? Is the cartridge yellowed? If you have a box, how dented is the box? How clean is the box? Is it ripped? Is it torn? Not everyone took great care of their stuff. Some people just threw their boxes in the back of the closet and they got all bent up. Most people threw them away. To get a box at all is great, but to get one in clean condition or even sealed is like mind-blowing. You have a really interesting mix today of things.
It's a variety.
The last thing I would say is these values are mine. Every person you go to, a game store, another collector, they might give you different values. So take this with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
Okay? Let's start with the first game, which is Super Star Wars.
Super fun.
All right.
Classic.
You think this is super fun?
I liked it. At the time, I remember it.
When's the last time you played Super Star Wars?
Oh my gosh. Well, so it would have probably been like early or mid 90s, probably.
Try it again. This one has not aged well, but people love it because it's Star Wars. So Super Star Wars, $10.
Cool. Okay.
F-Zero, $15.
Cool. Love that game.
Classic game.
That a lot.
Super Mario World is a bona fide classic. However, it's been re-released on every platform that Nintendo's ever made, and compilations
probably
and otherwise.
A lot of copies back in the day too when they was out.
It was a pack-in. Some game stores will sell this for $20, $25 because when people buy a Super Nintendo, they're going to want this. I would value this at $15 because that's about what they sell for online. One of the greatest fighting games ever.
Best, so fun.
A Super Street Fighter 2, or just Street Fighter 2 Turbo, excuse me. This one, $15. One of the great beat 'em ups that unfortunately is only one player in the first one. I know. But $15. Okay. And then Super Mario All-Stars, which is one of said compilations. It says Mario 1, 2, and 3. I forget if there's other Mario games on this.
There's Lost Levels.
Lost Levels, excuse me. See, I know.
Way back,
$15 on Mario All-Stars. Here's your most valuable Super Nintendo game. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Unfortunately,
I don't know what happened to that label. My labels usually sound so
labels
nice.
Here.
It wants to just given up on its own.
If the label were perfectly on top, I would say it's worth about $40. But because it's folded up, people will just glue it down.
Probably.
But I'd still give you $30 for it.
Great. So $115.
$115. So $115 for this lot of Super Nintendo games. Now there's a lot of ways to play these games now. There's emulators. There's compilation consoles like the Super Nintendo Classic, etc. So if you end up selling them and then changing your mind later, you just want to play the games. But these are your childhood copies.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I know. Well,
we don't want to be these.
We'll see. The Legend of Zelda one, it would hurt to get rid of that. So.
Yeah. When we get to the selling part, I'll put the pressure on to really get at you. Let's go to the next, which is Sega Genesis. You gross? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Sega's awesome. That was for CJ. He always makes fun of me for this. Tell me about your history with the Sega Genesis.
So Sega was the second console that my grandparents bought for the cousins, for us, so that we'd have a video game to play when we came over and hung out at their house. Yeah. So just kind of a cool grandparent move, I guess. Okay. And my grandparents always lived just close to me. Like at one point, they lived literally across the golf course we lived near, and then they moved right across the street. Okay. And so I would go over there like every day almost and plug something in and play it. So, you know, it's pretty fun.
I didn't grow up with the Genesis. I don't know as much about Sega as other people. Here's the thing that I've noticed with Sega Genesis games. I just saw a GameStar post this actually recently. There's a few games, and you have a couple of them, that are highly desirable, but in general, Sega Genesis stuff doesn't really move very much off the store shelves.
Interesting.
We're going to get into a few games throughout this that are in that $5 value range, and that could be as low as $2, as high as $7. For those games, I just generally will give, I would value them at like $1, just to take them off your hands.
Sure.
Because usually I'll throw them in a bundle, give them away, etc. Because people aren't usually desiring like old sports games, for example. Most people are looking for the shoot 'em up games, and then some of your tentpole franchises like your Sonics. But the thing when it comes to the collector market that Sega has done is on just about every console they have released, from PS2, even on the Genesis itself, they released all of these compilation discs. The physical cartridges and an original Sega takes a little bit longer to move, but it still does move. Let's start with your consoles here, actually. So we've got both the Model 1 and the Model 2. Let's start with the Model 1. The Model 1 is the kind of the GOAT Sega console because it actually can do stereo audio. It also is something that has this iconic look to it. So when people want to buy a Sega Genesis console, usually they want to buy one that looks like this. They don't want to buy the Model 2, and they definitely don't want to buy the Model 3. The thing with this console is it shipped with a 3-button controller, and then later in Sega's life they got 6-button controllers, like for Street Fighter. Now you have 4 controllers with you, but they are all 3-button controllers. So that does lower your value just a little bit.
Interesting.
And then also you mentioned that there's a defect in this one.
There's a pin on the plug for the controller that is loose, bent. I think actually got broken off at the tip a little bit. But you could plug in the plug and give it a little bit of love, a little wiggle, and it would connect, and then you could play. But that was later on because this saw a lot of action. So.
And what's your favorite Genesis games?
We played a lot of the X-Men game, the classic, a lot of Sonic though. We had all the Sonics, all 4 of them up through Sonic and Knuckles.
You kind of have more than 4 though today.
Yeah, we saw so many.
Later on, Sega releases the Model 2, which is this version. In general, because this console has the broken pins and stuff, I couldn't give you much more than like $20 for it. And the reason for that is because it would still have a controller. You can still kind of get it to work. I would probably sell it for $30, and $20 is just because I think someone would want to buy this with the controllers. You do have all the hookups, all the AV. We're just not going to pull all that stuff out right now. For this one though, because it is completed, this one works just fine. I would value this at $55. So now let's go through now the games, and here's where it gets a little complicated. Let's start with your 2 that aren't quite as valuable. These are Miss Pac-Man and Pat O'Reilly Basketball. These are those $5 each value on these games. NHL All-Star Hockey 95. Did you play NHL 94 from EA?
No, this would have been it. Someone probably just picked it up at some point and threw it into our collection. So
$10.
$10, cool.
Madden 94. What's cool about your copy of Madden is you'd have like
kept it all.
Yeah, I think generously it's worth $12. I would probably still say $10 though. Next, let's do the classic pack-in, the not for resale Sonic the Hedgehog. In my experience, just because it says not for resale, usually that's an indicator that it's of higher value because it was like a store copy. This is not for resale because this was packed in with the console. Very common. This is the Super Mario World of Sonic stuff, $15. Jurassic Park.
That game.
Love it?
Hard. Yeah, love it. Hard game though.
Is this the top-down one?
No, this is a side-scroller
one.
And grants and running through doing stuff,
So weirdly limited run games, you know what they are?
Like just few copies, like just not very many.
So they're a boutique publisher that gets licenses to old games.
Right.
They do modern games as well. They do special editions. They think they did like skateboard decks when they released this with the game. And like on the Switch, you can get all 20 versions of Jurassic Park from Game Boy, you know, and also they had like the Super Nintendo version as well, like all that's packed in. Jurassic Park is a very common game. I would value it at $17 though. This is X-Men, which you said was one of your favorites.
One of my favorites. Never beat it.
Never beat it.
Didn't know the trick. Know the trick?
No.
When you get to the Mojo level, after you beat Mojo, you got to reset the game. Did you know that? This is a but it was before the internet. We had no idea. No one ever told us. So we would play up to Mojo, wait for the countdown to go off, and be done. And that was it. And like, loved it, played it a ton. Never beat it, not once.
I'm valuing this at $20 because you have the manual. I'd value it at $30 if you had the poster.
I thought the poster was in there.
Yeah, so
someone must have snagged it.
Or you had it on your wall.
You know, we weren't very big poster wall people. Like, I bet it was in there for a long time.
Okay.
Actually, we were going to keep the poster if it was in there too.
Okay. Well, 20 either way. All right, and the last one of the kind of let's call them lower value-ish games is Afterburner 2. This one you also have the manual for. I can say $22 the value on this guy.
Pretty good. Fun game.
Before we get to the big dogs, let's get into your loose cartridges that you brought. You don't have boxes for these?
No, these are from my cousin, I believe. So yeah,
is that what you tell everyone about?
That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah, okay.
That's
$5
that's the
on
story.
Barney.
Sticking with it.
Speaking of Echo the Dolphin.
Yep, there he is.
$10.
Yep, cool.
Stimpy's Invention. I thought this would be worth more than $10, but it's worth about $10. Sonic 2 with the manual, but no box.
No box. I don't know. So
all right. So this game on its own is like $5.
Right.
With the manual, I had to throw another $5 on it, so $10 total. Right. And then Sonic and Knuckles loose, but it's missing the little
broken knuckle. That was cousins. I'm gonna blame him.
Freaking cousins. I've got this at $20 because it's missing the top lid. If it had the top lid, it'd be worth a little bit more. I think $20 is fair.
That's nice.
All right, now let's get into the good stuff. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yeah.
You are missing the manual.
Yeah, no manual.
Unfortunately. What's your favorite Sonic mainline game?
Probably 3. It's been a long time since I've played through all of them, like a lot, but probably 3. But I did think it was fun when you plugged it in with the Sonic and Knuckles and got like the new
extra
game.
stuff.
Yeah, the extra stuff. So it was fun.
I had a copy of Sonic 3 without the manual on my eBay store competitively. For like a year before it finally sold, but it did. And so for that reason, I would value this at $40. Wow. So if you had the manual, it'd be worth a little bit more, and it would sell a little quicker because most people buying retro want the whole thing complete. But
that one surprises me. He's so popular. I figured there'd be lots of copies out there, and probably that's pretty good.
Now, when you initially sent me the photos, I thought that this would be worth a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
Because what I'm about to show you is a game that I almost never see in box, and I didn't know Sega made games that looked like this kind of box. I've never.
So weird.
This is Turrican. And this one is complete, but it is this older style Genesis game. Tell me about your memories of Turrican.
I feel like it's a common theme. Sega games were just hard. It was a really hard game, kind of weird art. I don't even know why it even got bought in the first place because my parents, my grandparents probably wouldn't have bought like weird art games, but we did. Kind of interesting because you kind of go back and forth and get the power-ups and things like that. Probably never got very far in it, to be honest. Like, but kind of a fun, quirky thing.
Look at that artwork. I mean, that is pretty wild right there. You gotta love it. It says there's a poster of the cover art, but for an offer for it inside.
Yeah, we never sent out for the cover. I don't think we even read the back of the box to figure that out.
$1 million right there.
Actually, that would have been a cool poster.
This would have been
That'd
an
been
awesome
really
poster.
like, I could see it up here in the garage somewhere.
I totally would put up, well, I don't know. He has abs in places I didn't know you could have abs.
I know, he kind of makes you jealous, right?
Let's move on. I would value Turrican in this condition at $50.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Your most valuable game, though, is one that I often see the cartridge for, and you have a cartridge for it, but you also have a complete in-box version of it. That's Sonic and Knuckles. This has everything in it, the manual, inserts. Your tray is destroyed, but I believe that we could find a replacement tray pretty quick for this, so I would value this at $90.
Wow.
What's interesting about this is some of these games, even though they have this value, Sega stuff moves slower. And some of these might not move at all. Like Madden 94, it might take 2 years for that to sell or whatever. So it does kind of affect a little bit of things. All right, we're still in the 16-bit era of games, but there is the handheld portion of that era.
That's right.
And that is something that you have for us on display here. You have quite the little Game Boy collection.
Yeah, there was more to it. I believe that some of the Game Boys are still floating around with my family somewhere because we loved the Game Boy. My parents actually played a little bit of the Game Boy.
Yeah.
That was about as far as their video games went, but that was our entertainment for all the traveling and stuff we did. We'd sit in the back of the truck, you know, with the shell and play video games in the back while we're driving to wherever and go on airplanes.
The kids today don't realize how good they have it because they have backlit screens.
That's right.
And the power lasts long. You don't have to change the batteries constantly.
I don't have it here, but we had the little slide-on light display that you could put on the old fat Game Boys.
With like the magnified thing and the little speakers. Yeah.
Dial it up bright.
You said you might have brought some other things too.
I had one more Game Boy lying around on the wall that I had not put into the original.
And a game. Okay. A Pokemon game. I haven't looked up the value of this lately. We'll get to this in just a moment. If Sega Genesis is a slow mover, Game Boy I listed, it sells in a day.
Okay, wow.
Because of that, I'm usually willing to pay a little bit more for it.
Sure.
The cartridges themselves are in a bit of a resurgence. I sell things on eBay and in a platform called Whatnot, and then also a platform called Encore. And on those platforms, and I recommend Goodies as well. Game Boy has multiple iterations of their Game Boy consoles.
So many.
There's the old classic fat one.
Yeah, we had 2 fat ones. I don't know where they are.
Then they did the Game Boy Pocket, which is basically the slim. So it's not color, it's just a slimmer version of it.
Better screen, a little sharper.
Little sharper. And then you have the Game Boy Color, which is, again, same power, but now your games can play in color. No backlight or anything like that. And then you move up to the SP and the Advance and all that kind of stuff, right? And those consoles do play original Game Boy games on them, but still, people love having these original classics. There are also multiple different colors for these. So some people will pay more for certain colors than others. Let's start with the Silver Pocket. I'm valuing this at $50. Okay. The Game Boy Color, because you're just showing it to me now, I would value this at about $60. Okay. Now the reason I would say 60 is this is in fantastic shape. You do have a little bit of scratches on the screen. Not bad, but still enough to be noticeable. But your buttons are intact. The biggest thing with these is the back plate, which you have. So I would value it at about 60. I might ask for 70 on it in some cases. So let's say 65. Let's just kind of go up a little bit. Pokemon prices after COVID just exploded. These games are going for $20-ish all day. And then during and after COVID, they like tripled in price. And some vendors I've seen sell for even more than that. Faded label sold at about $60. You have some fading on the top, which a lot do from scraping from against the edge. I'm gonna say 65, which is crazy, but that's the market speaks.
It's impressive for the Game Boy too. I wasn't expecting like high prices for the Game Boy stuff, to be honest. Like I really didn't know.
The Game Boy bags and stuff, sometimes people try to like sneak a little bit of extra cash out of it. Most of the times though, I just leave it alone because I just will throw it in when I sell the Game Boy as like part of a bundle. So the bag, I would say it's maybe worth $5, but I wouldn't give someone, I wouldn't buy a bag if I saw it. This is where I am like, it might be worth $4, but I would only give you $1 for these. Most game stores would just be like, sorry, dude.
Fair enough.
First is Bo Jackson Baseball, Madden 2001, Cyber Tiger, Toy Story, Tetris 2. I would value all of these games somewhere between $2 and $5 each. And so in general, I would say like $15. This was your first one without a case that we have. This is the other thing with Game Boy games. These cases, having original Game Boy cases is like amazing. $10 on Alleyway, $10 on Track and Field, and $10 on the Game Boy Color version of X-Men Mutant Wars. What's your biggest memory of your Game Boy games? That we've talked about so far.
Honestly, Track and Field. Track and Field is the game that will break your Game Boy because it was all as a button master. So you got to like that. So like you would do like the weightlifting, and in order to do the weightlifting, you got to just 1,000 times push that button, just wear that thing out. But I remember trying to like do that one a lot and try to like always win the gold on that. A lot of Alleyway on the.
I loved Alleyway.
Alleyway's super fun.
The original Tetris was iconic to me, and that's in your next tier of games here. These are your $15 games. You have 2 copies of Tetris, one with and one without the case. $15 each. Did you play Castlevania Adventure?
Yeah, so much. A ton. I love that game.
You love this game.
Hard. Very finicky, very precise.
Yes. So because I tried to play this game recently, and it is one of the most frustrating gameplay experiences ever.
Very clunky, very slow, very precise.
Yeah, so $15 is my value on this. We got Super Mario Land with the case, $20. Super Mario Land 2, but this label has been to Mario's Wonderland.
I have no idea why it's like that. I don't know.
It's an old game.
Someone got to it. I don't know. Honestly,
your dog ate it.
Younger brother maybe picked at it and ripped it off, maybe?
$20 on this one. Okay. This might be worth a little bit more if the label were cleaner, but I was seeing solds with labels around that amount.
That's a fun game.
What is Battle Bowl?
You are a little tank, and you're supposed to go around and move blocks around out of the way. I forget exactly. And
it's like a puzzle game?
You kind of, but you're like grabbing the blocks and shooting them at the little bad guys that are running around. And then you actually had a whole upgrade system. So you would get like points for each level, and then you'd actually like get upgraded scooper to like grab onto the blocks faster, and you got springs, like spring wheels, and you could jump over the bad guys. So you get stuck in corners and keep having to jump up. Like I played a lot of that game. Very interesting, super fun.
I have no idea anything about it.
Yep.
And I was like, this could be one of those ones that's sitting in your closet that's worth $100. Right. There are a couple of Game Boy games that are worth a few $100s, just the cartridge only. Yep. This is not one of them. This one's worth $20. But it was just interesting because the publisher on it is very niche as well.
That was the game that I was going to tell you was like one of my biggest like memories of sitting there playing through that goofy little tank game. Is such a weird little game.
Oh, that's so awesome. Fun. Next one was just remade for the Nintendo Switch a year or two ago. Okay. That's Zelda Link's Awakening DX, which is, I believe, the remixed version of the game. Any guesses on what this cartridge goes for right now?
I mean, Zelda's always pretty popular, so maybe $60, like
right on the money. $60.
Nice.
Yeah. Before we fully leave this era of retro, there's one other console not a lot of kids had. Only cool kids, as it turns out.
Yeah, or cool grandparents bought, I guess.
And you happen to be one of those individuals who had that, and that is for the Turbo-Grafx 16, but there's a slight issue with your Turbo-Grafx 16 stuff. And that is, you have a lot of cases, but you're missing a lot of
Yeah, I don't really know what happened to them. They must have gotten put in like a sleeve holder at some point. Most of this came from, I'm gonna blame the cousin again. It keeps coming back to my cousin. The Turbo-Grafx mostly was with my cousin and got passed, we'd get brought over to the grandparents' house and kind of go back and forth. So that's maybe why some of the stuff disappeared.
Well, here's the interesting thing. If you have the original case and manual, this still can hold a lot of value. Yeah. The big genre on this was shooters, was a big one. And so if you have any of those like R-type, style shooters, they can be worth quite a bit. A few years ago, I think it was Konami and Amazon released an all-in-one Turbo-Grafx console with pack-ins. So you have the Turbo-Grafx 16 console. You also have the hookups for it. Turbo-Grafx 16 console with all of these pieces together, I would value at about $200.
Oh, wow.
Let's just start there.
Okay.
However, I got to knock $15 off, and here's why. Your controller has some deterioration to it. Not the controller part, but the cable.
Oh, right.
It feels like it's like literally disintegrating. Yeah. Let's get into the games, and we're gonna start with the cases only. Sure. The first one is you have the case for Vigilante, but it's just the sticker. It's not the manual. Sure. No value for me.
No,
what this would be is if you're watching this and you're like, I need it. I have the manual and the cue card. I would just say, I'll send it to you.
Sure.
Next is the pack-in game, Keith Courage and Alpha Zones. This is the game that
was the pack-in one.
Yeah, your manual here is a little bit crunchy, but and I keep using that term. In this case, what I mean is it's just got some wrinkles and stuff. The killer on manuals is if they're super discolored or if they're wet. I would pay $10 for this.
Wow, that's surprising without the game in it. But
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The other one with not a perfect manual, but it is there all the same. Victory Run, I would also say $10 on this for the case and manual. Here's the staple of the console, Bonk's Adventure.
My favorite, the one I have the most memories of for sure. I just remember it's just such a goofy game. It's so fun to find the big meat power-ups and just go when he gets all angry, he turns red and the steam comes out of his head and all that kind of stuff.
That this manual is a little bit worn. Yeah. And so I think I originally had this around 25. I'd probably say 20. Okay. Wow. So I didn't realize that it was quite as worn as it was. This is a game I've never heard of before. Ordine?
I do remember playing it.
What is this?
It was a fly around shmup or shoot 'em up game.
Okay, it's a shmup. Game. You did have a shmup.
I know that shmups are popular, and when I saw that, I'm like, I hope the game's in here, and it's not in here.
I wish you had it in here too, but even without the game, I'd say this is worth about $40.
Wow.
Now let's look at our next ones that have the game. Okay. So you happen to have a Keith Courage complete in the box. Here's your cue card. These didn't come on cartridges.
Yeah.
They came on these little guys. This one I would say is worth, in this condition, 18 bucks.
Okay.
I had a Turbo-Grafx 16 for a minute. One of the games that came with that Turbo-Grafx 16 is this game. JJ and Jeff.
Kind of made you not want to have a Turbo-Grafx 16, if I remember correctly. It was a very weird game, hard game. I don't think it's super fun. We didn't play it very much because you'd get it started and you never really could figure out what to do.
So weird. It's so perfectly 90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s
kind of like trying to be like
way.
edgy, like almost like MTV kind of like edgy, early like vibe to it.
Like even this visually looks kind of like Max Headroom a little bit. In this condition, I'm saying 50 bucks.
Wow.
But you did have one game that was a little bit more valuable and more interesting, and that is Legendary Axe 2. What is this game?
Honestly, I don't think I remember playing that one. That one's maybe come out of my cousin's collection.
Okay.
Because it's not Golden Axe, it's Legendary Axe. So this is a picture of it.
It looks like
It looks kind of like Golden
side
Axe.
scroller-y a little bit.
Maybe it's supposed to be like a knockoff Golden Axe?
I don't know. I mean, it's got the term axe in it.
Yeah.
In great condition, this would be worth 85, even 100,
that's a lot, yeah.
maybe. With the kind of wear on the manual, I'd be more like 75.
Still pretty impressive. I wasn't expecting that. Like,
Add this in here. Now we're gonna bump up generations,
Okay.
Eric, and we're gonna go to the mighty, to the magical, to the mystical PlayStation 1.
this was just a hand-me-down console from my brother-in-law. So I never actually had a PlayStation 1 myself. I always wanted one, but luckily my friends did. So I did get a chance to play pretty good amount of PlayStation 1 at other people's houses, but I was always going over to other people's houses to get kind of my PlayStation 1 game time in.
And you have a really interesting mix of PS1 stuff here. Let's unfurl. We're gonna grab these games here. PS1 though has such a massive library of games. Some of the most popular games of all time. And some of those games are incredibly popular and they still sell for a decent amount and are still desirable. This era of consoles really is like the awkward teenager. It's like our first time getting 3D. It's like kind of like figuring new things out, and you can see its pimples and kind of awkwardness with the cameras and all that stuff. The foggy everything. So all of that kind of stuff. But there's still some serious classics, and you have one of those serious classics in here. This is a Game Shark Pro. Did you ever use this?
This wasn't mine. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I wish I had it for the Nintendo. We had the game Genie.
Yes.
Way back in
Same
the day.
idea.
So I wish I still had that. But yeah, I don't really know why I'm surprised we even had it, like lying around in the box.
I have no idea how this works, why it works, if it works, but I would say if it does work and it's in good condition, 20 bucks. Okay. Next is this memory cards. These are third-party memory cards, you know, because they're in this case, but you have some first-party ones in here too. This original Sony made one by Sony, I would charge 10 to 15 bucks for it. These two I'd charge $5-ish for them, maybe. I'd say 20 bucks for all the memory cards. Cool. This game's worth about $5, but I wouldn't give you anything for it. Siphon Filter.
Do you remember that one? Played that one a lot. I think I was saying I didn't have a PlayStation. I think my younger brother had a PlayStation for a while, so I did get some time with Siphon Filter, and I do remember that being like a cool spy game, the counter to like the James Bond GoldenEye kind of a thing.
That's exactly right. That's what Siphon Filter is. There's awkward running animations, I remember. Like when he runs to the side is like kind of really funny. I never totally understood this game, but people love this game. And for that reason, it's worth about 10 bucks. The next one is a first-person shooter series that would be in competition with Call of Duty, but eventually lose out. That's Medal of Honor. You've got two of the games in the Medal of Honor series. Did you play these?
No, I didn't play the Medal of Honor series.
Okay, I recently went back and started playing through this again. It's a great template of what first-person shooter games would become, but because of the processing power in the PlayStation, you can only get a couple of enemies on screen at a time. The levels are really small and contained, but it plays to that. Like a lot of times you're in underground bunkers and things like that.
That makes sense.
I would say these are worth 12 bucks each. I would honestly say 10 bucks each because that's what I would charge for them. The GOAT? Not
so fun.
Hardcore Final Fantasy fans don't love this game, as I understand it.
I like it. I think it's super fun.
I love it.
I've played through it once or twice. Like, I mean, it's such a long, big game, and I got into it later than I think everybody else did.
Have you played any of the remakes that have come out recently?
No, I haven't.
I also love this game. I think it's awesome. But I'm also not a JRPG guy. Like, I've tried to be a JRPG guy. My friends who love video games are like, you're crazy if you're not. I've tried so many times. This is the only one where I was like, oh, it's fun and I want to keep playing.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the tropiness of the characters doesn't bother me as much.
I think we have a similar feelings about the JRPGs, like, because I like aspects of them. I want to get into them, so we'll maybe talk about some stuff later.
The big differentiator on this is Black Label versus Greatest Hits.
Right.
There's one Greatest Hits game on the PlayStation that is worth like, I think it's like $1,000, and it's an NFL Blitz game.
Yeah.
But in general, people see Greatest Hits and they value it lower.
Sure.
What did I have this at? $30.
Okay.
I love this game, still to this day.
Never played it.
Really?
It's not. I never played it.
Man.
I know. I've heard it. I know people love it. I understand the concept of it.
Yeah.
But never played it.
Do you like stealth games in general?
I think I like a little more action, to be honest.
Yeah.
So like I think it would maybe I have a variety of things that I have played.
Wait till you see.
So,
but yes.
So I kind of like to play a little bit of everything, but that's probably why I haven't never dove into it, is because it was not quite what I was into when it came out. So.
And that was what was so game changing about it, was it did stealth in a way that was like, oh, this can, and then you get your Splinter Cells and other copycat games. What Metal Gear did so well at this time was it tried to tell, it's still kind of incomprehensible, a story with cinematics. I think Kojima, who's the figurehead of the series, he tried to, I think, make a movie, but he only could make a video game, given the resources and talents he had. And he made a great, like, a really interesting conspiracies, all this stuff. The cinematics are great. The sense of scope and scale felt like nothing else felt like Metal Gear when it came out. This is the Black Label version of it. This case is very important because on the back there's a codec for one of the characters.
I was gonna say, do you know about the codec on the back?
You gotta know about the codec on the back. So you know your video.
I do know. I have some background. I know some stuff.
There's one particular series that we're gonna get to that is like, oh my god, you do know your video games. That being said, as is, I'm saying $40.
Okay, great.
Let's talk about Capcom.
Right.
They made Resident Evil, but they also made Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
What do you?
Didn't play it. Don't know. Sorry.
This game.
Yeah.
This game is Jurassic Park the game.
Yep.
It should have just been called Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It plays like Resident Evil with dinosaurs. It is a great game. It's a short game. It feels like you're playing Resident Evil, but like for me at the time, I didn't love zombie stuff.
Yeah.
And so I played this, and like the terror and the scares were really good, but it's all the puzzle solving of go over here and find the switch that goes into the blah, blah, blah. It's over on this backtracking part of the level, and conserve your ammo and your weapons and everything. This got ported over to the Dreamcast, which I think is the definitive way to play the game. And it's worth about, I think, like 80 or $100 over there. But for here on the PS1, it's worth about $60.
Nice.
Yeah. For the console itself, I think we should add this.
Oh, yeah.
A complete PS1 console today is worth $60. Okay. Not bad so far, though, are we?
No, we're cruising along.
But Eric, here's where this video is going to really level up. We're going to my baby.
It's a magical time.
My magical Nintendo 64. Yeah. And Eric, you don't just have a couple of games and a couple of consoles. Oh, no, sir. No, you have a lot more. And we'll have to make sure you're subscribed to see you next time. No, I'm just kidding. When you showed me this stuff, this was when I was like, okay, we had a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Now we've got an amazing one.
Okay.
Let's start with the consoles themselves. Now, first thing I always look for when you grab the console, when you grab this,
hold it up.
You got to check the lid.
We got.
Now, this is red and this is normal. That's because that's the expansion pack.
Yep.
A lot of people, when they got the expansion pack, they threw out the original one. You still have yours.
I do.
So because of that, I can not only give you a decent amount for the N64 console itself, I can also give you extra for the expansion pack. The big thing that I'm always looking for on the controllers, and anyone should be looking for, can you guess what's the most important part about this controller?
The stick.
The stick.
That stick's got to work.
The stick's got to work. So this one's a little bit loose. I'd rate that a 7 out of 10. Okay. That's still really good.
Yeah.
I've seen some that are not usable.
There's been some hours on those things.
Yeah, but all your joysticks are in good to great condition.
Great.
So for that reason, I can give you even more for these. So the complete console, let's get the values going here, because this is where it's going to get really exciting. I see consoles selling everywhere from $70 to like $100.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to be a bit conservative and say $80 for a complete console with all original parts on each of these. So
makes sense.
Let's do 160 on that.
Okay, so we'll do 160.
For the 3 extra controllers, I'm valuing the gray controllers at 20 and the ones with color 25. You have one green controller.
Green one.
And the black one is also, I usually about the same. So let's say $70 for those. What do we have so far just on consoles?
So
and
just on the consoles, $230.
we're at $230.
Pretty good money.
Pretty good. You guys. Let's start with the cartridges first here.
And these ones are the hand-me-down stuff. So
This is the hand-me-down stuff. We're gonna start with
I don't think I've
cartridges.
even played these.
I'm guessing there's a little bit of a resurgence in N64 values that we're at the bottom end of because you can see the video on this channel. There's what's called the Analog 3D.
Right.
It's basically the Nintendo 64 with FPGA, the tech in it, basically plays original cartridges on your 4K TV and it looks great. And there's another competitor console coming out for it, which is probably going to drive demand even more.
Sure.
For N64 games. People are probably going to want these games, and so I'm willing to pay a little bit of a stronger value on these than, say, again, the Genesis games or something like that.
Sure.
No matter how much people say I can't give you really anything for Quarterback Club 98. It sells for $2. I might just...
I think there's another copy of that because I did play that one, so I think there's another copy of that floating around in the box.
There is, but you have a different... we'll get to that.
Okay, sorry.
Automobile Lamborghini. This is a racing game.
Yep.
I would say a bit of a hidden gem.
Yeah.
It's been called that before. That's a strong term. It's not a great game, but $10.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Next one is a game that actually left this game.
Okay.
Wheel of Fortune.
Sure, fine.
$10.
All right.
Jeopardy's kind of tough because I'm not as smart as English teachers like you. $12.
We'll see.
And then this is a game that I want to love so much, but I can't, no matter how much I try to play it. And it's iterations of it. It's a series called Cruisin'. This is Cruisin' World.
Okay,
it's the second one.
Did rent that at some point, and that was some good time just cruising the world, just doing crazy jumps and things like that.
The problem I have with this is that everything feels exactly the same as everything next to it.
Yep.
So every race, even though it looks different, feels the same. It's fun for a few minutes, but then it's kind of whatever. Yeah. But I would value this at $20. Okay. But Eric, you didn't just bring these games and those consoles.
No.
This is where the video gets really interesting. Where is that box?
Where is that box indeed?
It's right here. This box, Eric, is filled with boxes.
Yeah.
Wait till you see the boxes. What are your memories of the N64?
My grandparents bought us the N64. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, they would update the consoles every couple of years so that the grandkids would have something to do when we came over and visited. But I had the blessing of them always living really close. And so I would go over pretty much every day, every weekend for hours and hours and play everything all the way through, complete stuff. It's hard for me to know exactly how many hours I spent playing the Nintendo 64 at my grandparents' house.
Now, of all of the consoles you've played here from the retro era, N64 and before, what would you say is the most played console for you?
Oh, it's played the most. Ooh, that's gonna be hard because I played them all a lot. I probably played the Nintendo 64 the most, with the Super Nintendo in a close second because I owned the Super Nintendo, so it was there every day.
Okay. Most people get rid of their boxes, but you kept yours.
We are just kind of that kind of family. We kind of like collect our things. We like to take really nice care of our stuff. We like to kind of be organized, and that's just kind of the way that we were. And they were at my grandparents' house, so it was kind of like they weren't ours, and we took care of like other people's things, and so we just kind of kept them safe. And we had a spot to keep them in the little cupboard down next to the TV, so we just kind of lined them up and kept them all safe and sound. And
that was that.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay. Some of what you have is some of the most desired stuff in the N64 library. I'll spoil this now. You don't have anything sealed, so you don't have any of the $1 million games in here. But that doesn't mean that you don't have high value games, because you do. We're going to start first with just the stuff that doesn't have the games. We can't find them.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but they might still be floating around in somebody's house somewhere.
Well, the good news is most of these games, if not all of these games, are pretty easy to track down and to complete these. And so we're going to go through them one at a time. The first one of which is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yep.
Most people who have this game absolutely destroyed this box. Yep. I don't see this box in as clean a shape. Yeah, so mine has a little bit of a chunky little end here.
Yeah, we got a crease on ours, so I'm not quite sure where that crease happened.
Okay.
But no, it's not bad.
It's still better than this, and it's still better than most that I see out there. So just for the box and manual only, I am going $25 on this. Okay. In my collection, I got every box and every manual, but I'm not at the point where I'm trying to get player's choice variants and all that stuff just because it's so much fun.
Sure.
And when I buy collections or when I buy games, I usually sell a lot of it, keep a few things for myself, and then, you know, that kind of thing. A few of these boxes, if you ended up selling them to me today, I would absolutely add to the collection.
Oh, great.
Of all things, this is the one I would want the most, though.
Oh,
that's
interesting.
The 1080 box.
Yeah.
This is in mint, perfect condition.
It does look pretty good, right?
It's the player's choice variant. Hyper niche people like me are gonna jump at the chance to buy this.
Okay.
But it's not something, broadly speaking, that's gonna be much more valuable than if you had just the original box, which is what I have.
Sure.
But I want this variant box. Right now, I would price this just for the box and manual only. It's not as common, $35. And I don't want to open this right now, but not as common in here is there's a control guide. Mario Kart 64 has one, this has one, a few other games have just like a single sheet control guide that's a little bit of a more durable paper. 1080, $35.
Okay, great.
And if you do nothing else today, you decide not to sell any of this, I will still try to get you to sell this.
I can pretty much guarantee we'll do that for you.
Yes!
Sure. So we'll definitely settle on.
Another extremely popular one with the box variant that I'd like to get one day, GoldenEye. I do not see a discernible crease anywhere. This is the most mint condition box of GoldenEye I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I would say $50.
Oh, wow. My story about that is I played that game so much, I actually did all of the time trials for every single level.
Yeah.
So actually on the memory cards, which we never erased, if anyone gets those memory cards and you go in there, you might actually have the completely 100% completed GoldenEye 007 on there.
Funny you mention that because GoldenEye 007 doesn't use memory cards. It saves directly to the cartridge.
Oh, that's right, it did. It has the dossiers and it's right on the front. That's right.
You have a uniquely Western taste in your video games, which I would say we have pretty much the same taste.
Yep.
This is a first-person shooter that looks like begets a certain love for another series that you have later on, which we'll get to that. Next one, though, is when we get into first-party Nintendo stuff. This is a game series that is one of, if not the most beloved series in Nintendo's entire catalog. This box I see in pretty good condition a lot, but yours is literally in perfect condition. Super Smash Brothers. I have my original boxed copy from back in the day as well, but these original Nintendo N64 branded boxes and versions of these boxes, especially in this good a condition, highly, highly desirable amongst collectors. I mean, I would give you like definitely more than like what I would normally give because it is such perfect condition. And for this condition and in this shape, I'd say $100.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's amazing.
This is just for cardboard. Your most valuable box is one of the game series that also needed a little placard to go into it. That's from Mario Kart 64. Yep. So I had just had someone message me on Instagram. Apparently there's multiple variants of the cartridge. There's like, it says NTSC-USA, but there's also -USA 1. There's a greatest hits version of this game or player's choice version of this game. But the original box without the player's choice in this pristine condition, holy crap.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when we would have gotten it compared to release date for that particular one. Yep. So I actually think it might have been at release in the window, so it could be the first variant if that helps, but I'm not sure. We'd have to look up the numbers.
It's beautiful. There's not a scratch, there's not a dent. I mean, it is like you opened the plastic, set it in a golden case and locked it.
You had like a little white tray holder that just fit all these things, and they were just slid into this like dark drawer in the house.
Yeah, dark drawer is important because light
there's no light,
right? I'm gonna say this box is worth $125. Now here's the thing. This is where my value and someone else's value might be off.
Right.
I see some solds on this as much as like $300 complete. I see others at like $60 complete in box. I don't know.
Okay.
So I figured 125 was like a decent place to start. I could be wrong, but I'm not trying to rip you off.
No, that doesn't sound like it to me. So
like I mean, there's a part of me that'd be like, would someone give me $200 for this because it's in near perfect condition? There's a slight little bend here I'm noticing right now, but like it's pristine. Yep. So I don't know. So I'm saying 125. If I got a cartridge in it, it would boost it up to like 165, 200, but you know, etc. Those are just the boxes. Yeah. Now let's get into the ones that have games. We got to reset down. Okay. NFL Quarterback Club, 99. Unfortunately, not really worth much at all. I'd probably give you like 5 for it and try and sell it for 10. Next game is a great game, a launch era or launch window game, if not a launch game, and that is
first month.
First month or so. Shadows of the Empire.
Hundreds of hours.
Love this game.
Hundreds of hours.
It is wonky as can be.
Yep.
The third-person controls are so floaty.
Yeah.
But the opening flying mission.
Yep. Oh yeah.
The worst thing about this game is the mission where you're on like the little dirt bike trying to race.
Oh
through the town.
no,
The
swoop bikes. Yeah.
Nearly perfect condition. A couple slight little bends here at the top. I see listings ever from $40 to $100, so I'm going to park it a little bit around the $55 range. Okay. This one I also want to upgrade my copy of because this box is perfect. Not a very desirable game. In fact, this game got dogged a bunch when it came out because it was too much of a copy of its forebear.
Sure.
But I still love it anyway.
Yep.
That's NBA Hang Time.
Yep, it's fun.
Sports games, people, one, don't usually save the boxes, and two, if they do, it's because they forgot to throw it away. This is perfect condition, and I would love to own this in my collection and add it to the wall and change out one of my boxes for it.
I think that sounds good, no matter what we do.
Yes, I'm valuing this at $70. Prices on this were all over the place.
Yeah.
Again, a few were like over $100, a few were like way lower. So if I'm wrong on any of these things, let me know because I don't want to rip you off. I want to inform you of what you got. I just played this to test my Analog 3D. I didn't love this game on a replay, but I still appreciate it a lot, and that's F-Zero X.
Yes.
Perfect, pristine box. You have a slight little tear on the end.
Got that one mostly because I love the original F-Zero so much on the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
But it's fun. Not quite the same magic as the original F-Zero, but fun.
Yeah, I think it's still fun. I like the other, like Wipeout and Extreme G a lot more. Did you add that one?
No, what was that one?
125. What are we at so far? Let's just get a total so far.
Right now we're at 882 for the consoles and the games.
For the consoles and the boxes and the loose games, we're at $900.
Okay.
Do you think we can double it with what we got here?
I think
maybe. I think
maybe. There's a couple. I mean, I'm not familiar with all of it, but I think there's a couple bangers still to go.
Yeah, I would say that. I think this is the most timeless game on the N64.
I love this game.
It is so good. You can pick it up today, just as you could back then, and have a great time. That's Star Fox freaking 64.
Yeah.
I love this game.
Love the game so much.
Tell me your
I mean, like, this is one of those that I would go and like have marathon sessions and sit upstairs and like play through it one way and then go back to the alternate routes and see kind of how zigzag I could kind of go and try to get those giant combos by dropping the bomb at just the right time and all that kind of stuff.
It is so genius, and one of the things that makes me so frustrated is Nintendo seems to keep wanting to experiment with this formula.
Give us a good one. Just give us a flying Star Fox.
Let us fly through. Give us multiple pathways.
Yeah.
It's great.
It'd be so cool nowadays on the modern hardware to just...
Gosh. Yeah. And they tried this Wii U control thing because they're like, it needs to feel different. And like, does it really? It doesn't.
Don't think so.
Even the Star Fox Adventures, it's a good game, but it's just a repurposing of another game and throwing Star Fox onto it. This is, to me, the peak of the series. I still love this game. It's fantastic. It's a great shooter. The characters are great. The writing's great. All that's great. Now, this has two variants in it. I'll show you the other one, which I have right here.
Yeah, the skinny box.
So the skinny box one is the player's choice one because it doesn't have a rumble pack in it. This game introduced us to the rumble pack.
That's so fun.
And yours has not only the rumble pack, but it has all the cardboard, all the inserts, all the paperwork, everything's there. And the box, slight little bends and tears. Like, I mean, tears is even too strong a word, I think, right now. So you can see, like, here on the bottom, it's a little bit bent from when it was opened. But I would value this in this condition at $150.
Nice.
Now, I saw some as high as $200 and some as low as $120.
Okay.
This one is the one that's sold for $1 million, and yours could be graded. It isn't that good a condition. Super Mario 64, some people do grade loose, or not loose games, but boxed games. But it's not nearly as desirable to do. If the entire N64 library burned away and you could only remember one or two games for it, one would be Super Mario 64. The other would be what we're about to see. What's your story on this?
I mean, like, so that was, that was the first one. Did it come in box or did we buy? I can't remember. Did it come in box?
No, it was not back in.
It wasn't packed. Because I think they bought, my grandparents bought the console and bought this. So this was like the one game that we had to kind of get started with. But I just remember when you turn it on and you get to the goofy face that you can play with and you start to like see how the 3D works. But we grew up on Mario. So it's too bad I don't have all the NES stuff because we had all the Marios.
Yeah.
Tons of time spent on Super Mario 3. And then, so we played all the Game Boy games. So then to get him in 3D and run around with him and have him jump, it was amazing.
I remember the first time I was playing this game, and you're in the level where you're swimming underwater, and I think it was like you see a dinosaur or something pop out, and I was like, it made my heart stop. I'm gonna say $150 on this guy.
Okay.
So let's get to your big bangers.
Okay.
These are the ones that are by far the most expensive, most valuable, most expensive things that we've talked about today. And they're from my favorite series. You can probably already guess what these are. Let's start with The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This one is the collector's edition. Yep. Did you play this very much?
Oh yeah, multiple times playthrough. I did go through and collect every mask. I did the whole thing. Yeah, it's like the super upgraded, like
even with the crazy with bad controls at points.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I loved it. Super fun. Weird game. Like weird story. Got that goofy Japanese flair to it for sure. But I love the Zelda series. Yeah. And I spent a lot of time just in the Link to the Past. Yeah. Like I played that game probably the most on the Super Nintendo. And so then getting to come and play my Zelda, like they were the best. I loved playing through these games.
Well, after Ocarina of Time, I thought it was kind of smart of them to do something so unique and different and interesting. It was kind of risky, but at the same time, kind of what it needed.
Yeah, no, it worked.
What's interesting, though, is that this says collector's edition on it. What makes it a collector's edition, and I'm not going to take it out because I don't want to bend the box, is the cartridge has this lenticular finish on the cover of it. I would say 80% of the copies of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask that I find on the bottom have a piece that have a chip on them. And it is where the cartridge snaps together. Yeah. This one is not chipped. It is in perfect condition. I think mine's even chipped. Like it's in perfect condition. I'm going to say $325 for this one. Cool. The game that we all couldn't believe we were getting, we couldn't wait for it. Yeah. We consumed every magazine about it, was its predecessor. Yep. Ocarina of Time, but it came in two versions. Yep. There was one that you could pre-order and reserve, and there was the one that you could just buy on day one. Yep. I bought the day one version, but you did not. No. You got the collector's edition version. But
the story with this, though, is that I think it was probably the week it came out, maybe the day it came out. We all wanted it. My cousins wanted it, and my grandpa was going to buy it for us. And so we drove to Sears and walked in, and I guess they had called, and they said, yeah, we have it in stock. And so we walked in and said, can we get one of those? And they told us that they were out of stock. But when my grandpa said, but we called, and they said they did have it in stock, and they had the display cases, and they had these boxes sitting right there, and they talked about something, and they pulled it out, and there was a post-it note, I think, on it, and I think what had happened was that my grandpa basically bullied them into giving us someone's reserved copy of the collector's edition, and so that's where this came from. So this wasn't the goal, but this is what we got. Well,
you kept it in great shape. There's a slight little dent on the top. It's not.
Yeah. That happened in storage too, I think, because I don't think it was like that.
Yeah, but it's still in fantastic condition. Good news is most people that played Zelda were a little older. Yeah. They kept the Zelda boxes in good condition in general. I usually see these in pretty good shape overall, but this is pristine. I saw one of these that sold for over $500. I also saw some sold under $300. Yeah. And so I would be more conservative and say $325. $350 on this. If you ended up deciding to sell this to me, I would probably take this one and upgrade mine to a slight upgrade. Mine's already in really good shape. Yeah. I still love this game. I'm playing it again right now, actually. Yeah. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I missed it. I haven't played it in a long time.
There's two versions of Zelda. Three versions. There's the overhead, top-down, kind of simpler ones, your NES, Super Nintendo. You have your 3D versions of it, but they all have a linear pathway. Then you have this open world Breath of the Wild stuff. Which ones do you have a preference?
I haven't played Breath of the Wild. I haven't gotten a chance to play that one. I played a little bit of Twilight Princess way back, which was kind of the next step in kind of these ones.
I love Twilight Princess.
I have a real soft spot for this, the Link to the Past, all the way back to the top down, exploring kind of if I got back in there, I think I've got that place memorized, get back into it. But I love Ocarina of Time, just to go out and to be Link and explore and get on the horse and go kind of try to get into places. It's such a fun game. I love that game so much. Played it so many times.
Well, it's a great game. It's a great series. I love what they did here. I think it's just the right amount of open, but still it's very linear, which I appreciate as a playthrough. My friend Josh says The Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask era of Zelda is like going on a Disneyland dark ride, where like you ride through and you see the experience, whereas Breath of the Wild is you can get out and actually walk backstage and go everywhere. You're not stuck in the cart while it takes you through.
Sure.
But I like a good dark ride.
Yep.
So what are we at total now on N64?
Well, all together, 1857.
So I believe we doubled.
Yeah.
Now that I've finished appraising 6 different consoles and video games across multiple generations, including an additional few items we didn't film, Eric's collection comes in just above $3,700. But that number needs an asterisk. First, I got the Turbo-Grafx 16 valuation wrong. I've learned since that there are actually 2 tiers of complete when it comes to Turbo-Grafx 16. CIB, which is complete in box, and CIC, which is complete in case. This is unique to the Turbo-Grafx 16, so if you're collecting, keep an eye out for this. The cardboard cases for Turbo-Grafx 16 games are notoriously hard to find, so complete in-box games with the original cardboard commands a premium. When I was quoting Eric on CIB, I should have actually been using CIC because he doesn't have the cardboard cases. Second, I didn't properly value the N64 expansion pack in the N64 appraisal, but given the Turbo-Grafx mix-up, we'll call it a wash. Third, and this is the broader point, estimated value and what something sells for are 2 completely different things. Common games, sports titles, those can sit for years before the right buyer shows up. It could also be that you just get nothing for them. But flip that coin. Certain items, in this case the N64 and the boxed games in their different condition, they're commanding more than ever right now. So 3,700 is a real number, but it's a ceiling with a wide floor. Which brings us to the part that actually determines what Eric walks away with, how he decides to sell it. We're gonna walk through every realistic option and find out what he ultimately decides to do. People bring this in because they're thinking of selling their collection. Right now, gun to head before you leave, you have to make a choice. Would you be selling all of it, a part of it, or none of it?
At this time, I'm probably looking to sell all of it with maybe like 1 or 2 things. I'm still trying to decide how I want to go, but pretty much sell the whole thing, I think at this point is where I'm leaning to.
And what's the reason to sell it?
I always had the dream to have a amazing collection like this and to have like a way to display it and go back and play old stuff. But like my life hasn't kind of like, I don't have a place for all of this. And so there's kind of a ticking clock on this stuff for people to get to enjoy it. As nice as some of this stuff is, a couple more years stuck in the garage or under a bed, it's gonna wear out. You know, I want to make a little bit of money off of it if I can, but I'd rather go to people who could enjoy it and display it and show it off and really appreciate it for what it is rather than just be stuck in a box somewhere.
You're just kind of thinking it's time to sell, but you don't have like a pressing major expense or something that you're trying to...
Nothing like that. Just to think it's just maybe time.
Okay, so that means that you don't have any pressure here to do anything.
No.
And you should feel no pressure from me, but I'm going to tell you what you could do going forward. First thing you could do is you could go to a GameStop.
Sure.
People dog on GameStop. I sell them consoles a lot because they give like a pretty fair amount for like Nintendo Wii's, old retro consoles. They will like fix them up sometimes if like the little pins are not working. I'm totally cool with bringing stuff to GameStop. It can be good, but a lot of your game cartridges are probably not going to take a lot of them. And so that to me would be kind of like not a general place to go, but you could go there, and if you went to GameStop, they would sell the boxes and stuff, but they wouldn't value your trades for those boxes. Usually when you combine a GameStop trade with like their 20% off, specials or things like that, you can get a pretty good amount for your games. People like to dog on them all the time. I understand it. Some of their values are like ridiculous. You just bought your $60 game 2 days ago and tomorrow they're giving you $5 for it. I understand, but on retro stuff, they can sometimes really be a good place to get rid of some stuff. But they're probably my least favorite option, but I just want to make sure you aware. Game stores, pawn shops, they're usually operating on a rule of thirds. And what that is they're going to pay a third the value of something. They're going to use the next third to pay for overhead, and the next third is going to be profit. So they've got lights, they've got employees, they've got bills, etc., taxes. Well, we all have taxes, but all of those things factor into why that model works the way it does. The nice thing about a game store is they're going to probably take in a lot of the stuff that is missing components or a manual or some of these other things, and they're going to probably give you around 35% of the value for these things. And for some people, it's a wonderful thing. It does two things. One, you just get it all done in one shot.
Yep.
It's like the biggest factor in all this is time. To resell something, it's not just you put it online and then it sells and then 5 minutes later you're good.
Yep.
It could take 2 years to sell.
Yep.
It could take 2 minutes to sell. You could list it and it could break and it gets sent back to you, and then you got to deal with customer service. So online selling is not just like a quick thing that you do. Like, you got to make sure everything works, it's all good. A game store is going to do all of that stuff. And so I think one of the biggest values of game stores is they're giving you a lot of your time back.
Right.
You can just be done with it.
No, absolutely.
The other thing is game stores are a great thing to feed into a community.
Yep.
I love going to a game store and just browsing around. I like talking to other gamers at game stores, and they need inventory to operate. Pawn shops are pretty similar, but because pawn shops are usually so broad, in my experience, they'll go to eBay's sold really quick. They don't really kind of know quite as deep a knowledge as the sort of more nuancy things about game collecting. They're moving lawnmowers and guitars and video games. Game stores are just doing games. Now let's talk to the next level up. This is where I fit in. This is resellers.
Yeah.
There are two different categories of resellers. Well, three. Category one I am not a part of, nor do people that I know. Those are scalpers. These are people who run to Costco when the doors open. They buy all the Pokemon stuff, and then they sell it for more than the value that it should be because that's what they are. I don't do that, and scalping does not work with this category. The next level down is resellers whose full-time job, the way that they make their money, pay their bills, is strictly on reselling items.
Yep.
So these individuals may or may not have very much overhead. They usually have a process and a system where they can take all this stuff, they can, put it through their eBay stores, go on to different formats and get rid of their things. I've seen them pay as high as 65% for certain things, maybe 80 or 85% on certain Pokemon things, like this Pokemon cartridge. I had these at an event once, and a reseller friend of mine found out that I was selling these for $60. He's like, dude, you should have been charging $100. And I was like, no, you should not. They would have seen $60 as a bargain deal and just bought it right there. I fit in the third category of resellers, which is I am a collector who likes to resell. I like to make a little bit of money because it's worth my time, but I also want to add some things to my collection as we've discussed. I'm in that category, and I would make you an offer on this today. I would say like I'm usually about 60% the value. Here's where my margins come in at. When I sell stuff online, all the time it takes to list, all the time it takes to ship, deal with customer service, etc. I usually sell on eBay. I sell on Whatnot. I sell on Encore, and I sell sometimes on Goodies. All of those different platforms have different fee structures. I think ballpark-wise, by the time I factor in shipping supplies, boxes, everything, I'm usually taking off about 20% from there. So between 65 and 80% is usually my margin for a little bit of profit. Now I'm one person, there's other people as well. Right now at $37.59, I would give you, because you have all this Nintendo stuff here, the N64 stuff, but you also have this Genesis stuff that I know would sit, it has sat for me in the past, I'd probably be comfortable at like 60% flat on the value. I would be comfortable giving you $22.55 on this stuff. Let's say you're like, you know what? Like, I really want to get the most money that I possibly can. You still have two more options that will make you more money. One is eBay. You probably aren't going to start a Whatnot account, and also people can get hosed on Whatnot if they're not careful. If you did an eBay account, you could, like, say, sell me a chunk of this, but then take like your Zelda Majora's Mask and go, I'm going to see if I can get 500 for it. And maybe you do. After your 20% from fees, shipping, all that stuff, you're getting $420 for that box. That's pretty great. So that's an option. If you took a couple of these items and you just wanted to see if you could really max out that value, you should. You can make that money. The other one is OfferUp. You can throw all the stuff on OfferUp at 100% the value, let people try and lowball you, negotiate with you. It is the downside of OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace or any kind of local selling, is that people will try to take advantage of you, assume you don't know kind of what you have, because with collectibles, especially with video games, I have found that people are insanely crazy when it comes to getting this stuff. You see Turbo-Grafx 16 right now, someone will drive from like 4 hours away to maybe get it, or these boxes, and that's what they're going to do. So you would, I think, like if you went that route, certainly your Game Boy, Turbo-Grafx, and your N64 stuff, you would probably get a buyer pretty quick. The X factor in all of this is just another collector. If you're in a Facebook group, if you know other collectors or people in the community, and you know that they're looking for some of these things, you might go like, hey, I'll just do 15% off, the retail value. We'll use price charting or eBay solds, and you can get 80-85% the value that way.
Sure.
I've sold stuff that way before because that's usually kind of like on Instagram. If the people follow me, I'll sell it there. These are all ways that you can do it.
Yep.
General, most cases when people say that their game collection is worth X amount, I usually think, yes, but all the time, energy, work, fees, everything, I think it's comfortable to shave about 20% off of whatever the value is to look at what your actual value is. So if we did that right now, $37.59 times 0.8.
0.8.
Equals
3,007.
So let's just say 3,000 even.
Yeah, so, yep.
If you were to make a decision right now between GameStop, Game Store, reseller like me, or OfferUp or fellow collector, which one would you do?
I think I would go with a reseller like you. I think that would be kind of the best way to use my time. I don't have time to like go and like list everything on eBay and keep track of stuff. Like you said, like if you're willing to kind of take it all off my hands, I can't guarantee that it's gonna sell for me anyway in other places. So it sounds like a pretty good deal to me to kind of pass it along and let you get it out to the people that are watching your guys' stuff.
Love that. Yeah. Okay, well, awesome. Now, when you say that, are you saying like you would actually do that, or you still want some time to think about this?
I'm kind of committed to that. So maybe by the time we're finished here, we can talk about some things and maybe kind of wrap it up. But I'm definitely leaning that way because I think I'm ready to pass it on and kind of like get it taken care of.
Well, that's very exciting. I would definitely make you that offer and would be super stoked to upgrade some things. This would be stuff that would be a lot of fun to sell. And I know people for sure in the community would love to get this pristine collection in their stuff. You took great care of all your things. Now, Eric, we've been here for a few hours already.
Yeah.
Well, we're not done.
No.
Your big beloved console.
Yeah.
And its many generations of games.
Yeah.
I think the most collectible, if you want to collect and build a collection, the best brand to do that with is Xbox. And the reason for that we'll get into in the next video. So make sure that you like this video, that you are subscribed to the channel to see part 2 of what Eric brought for the Xbox, because my man brought some stuff.
It's a lot,
yeah. Large boxes of stuff.